The Book of Enoch is an ancient Hebrew religious text, ascribed by tradition to the patriarch Enoch, who was the father of Methuselah and the great-grandfather of Noah. The Book of Enoch contains unique material on the origins of demons and Nephilim, why some angels fell from heaven, an explanation of why the Genesis flood was morally necessary, and a prophetic exposition of the 1,000-year reign of the Messiah. 3 books are traditionally attributed to Enoch, including the distinct works 2 Enoch and 3 Enoch. In this video, we will dedicate our attention to the work known as 1 Enoch. The figure of Enoch, as depicted in the pre-flood period of the Book of Genesis, emerges as a main character in ancient narratives. Enoch, son of Jared and father of Methuselah, is renowned for his unique fate. Living 365 years before being taken by God, thereby avoiding physical death. This mysterious departure from Earth is further elucidated in texts like 1 and 2 Enoch, where it's claimed that upon his ascension, Enoch assumed significant heavenly roles, such as guardian of celestial treasures and head of the archangels, directly serving beside God's throne. Additional Christian writings and the Book of Jubilees offer deeper information into Enoch's life and legacy. The Book of Jubilees, echoing the Genesis narrative, enhances the details of pre-diluvial patriarchs and their interactions with divine entities known as the Watchers. It describes Enoch as the first human to master writing, knowledge, and wisdom, recording the celestial patterns. His extraordinary experiences are believed to have contributed significantly to divine decisions regarding humanity, particularly in the context of the deluge and the subsequent emergence of Noah. Enoch's celestial journeys, as chronicled in the Ethiopic Book of Enoch and other sources, reveal his profound encounters with divine knowledge and mysteries. These narratives describe his travels to the far reaches of Earth and his ascension through heavenly spheres, culminating in the presence of God. During these journeys, Enoch is said to have been shown the tree of knowledge and the tree of life, encountered various celestial phenomena, and received divine revelations and prophecies concerning Earth's future. The Book of Enoch is segmented into 5 distinctive parts, each unveiling unique aspects of mythological and cosmic lore. The initial segment, known as the Book of the Watchers, delves into the narrative of the Watchers. These celestial entities are depicted as the progenitors of the Nephilim, a race born from the union of fallen angels and humans. The text chronicles Enoch's celestial voyages, revealing the heavenly realms. Historians suggest this portion originated around the 4th or 3rd century BCE. In the subsequent part, the Book of Parables, the text expands on the foundations laid by the Book of the Watchers. It introduces the concept of a final judgment and the eschatological figure known as the Son of Man. This title, first appearing in 1 Enoch, was central in shaping early Christian titles for messianic figures. The astronomical book, the 3rd section, presents a compendium of celestial mechanics and movements. It details a solar calendar, reaffirmed in the Book of Jubilees, and believed to be a revelation to Enoch during his divine journeys, guided by the angel Uriel. The 4th division, the Book of Dream Visions, portrays a prophetic vision of Israel's history, stretching to what is widely interpreted as the Maccabean Revolt. Interestingly, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church posits an earlier composition date, suggesting it was penned before the Genesis flood. The final segment of the Book of Enoch is often called the Epistle of Enoch. The main content of the Epistle of Enoch, preceding its various conclusions, involves Enoch sharing a vision with his family, foreseeing the world's history laid out as a series of weeks. Epochs starting from Enoch's time and extending to the end of days and final judgment. Enoch follows his vision by advising his descendants on navigating the future epochs. To understand the Book of Enoch, we may need to read a passage from the Book of Genesis. The beginning of Genesis 6 sets the perfect stage to understand the context and the timeline in which the Book of Enoch is inserted. Now it had occurred when humanity had started to increase on the surface of the ground, and daughters had been born to them. The Benai Elohim saw the daughters of the human that they were good-looking. So they took wives for themselves from any whom they chose. Then Yahweh said, "My spirit shall not abide in the human for the eon, in that he too is flesh. So his days will continue 120 years." As for the distinguished, the Nephilim were on earth in those days and also afterward, when the Benai Elohim, the sons of the Elohim, were coming to the daughters of the human, and they bore them offspring. They were the masterful ones, who were from the eon, mortals of renown. A group known as the sons of the Elohim, also referred to as the Benai Elohim, became captivated by the daughters of the Adam. They found these earthbound women to be alluring and chose them as their spouses. Among them, 200 were united in this decision. Their leader, Samyaza, was acutely aware of the potential fury this act could provoke among the Elohim or the Anunnaki. Anticipating that he might bear the brunt of this anger, his associates vowed to share any consequences. They convened on Mount Hermon, a notable peak in the southeast of Anti-Lebanon, committing to this audacious plan without faltering. This assembly marked the beginning of a unique interaction between these celestial beings and the women of earth. They imparted knowledge to these women, teaching them the art of agriculture and the medicinal uses of plants. As stated in the ancient texts, they revealed to them the secrets of the early days. The impartation of this wisdom, though beneficial to humanity, was deemed the root of corruption and sin by God or by the Elohim. Their unions with the earth women led to the birth of the giants, or the Nephilim. Yet, this tale is shrouded in ambiguity. The Bible mentions, "The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, when the sons of the Elohim went to the daughters of the Adam, and also afterward." This raises the question of the Nephilim's origins. Were they the result of these unions, or did they exist independently? The text doesn't specify that the Nephilim appeared only afterward, but rather they were present in those days, and also afterward, suggesting their presence might have predated or occurred concurrently with these unions, but not necessarily as a direct result of them. In another episode, Moses, leading his people in the desert of Paran, sent scouts to Canaan, a land promised by God. Despite this divine assurance, Moses understood the necessity of military strategy for its conquest. The scouts returned with tales of a land rich in resources, but inhabited by formidable peoples. Some scouts doubted the feasibility of conquering this land, as described in Numbers 13:28. "Only that the people dwelling in the land are strong, and the cities are defended and exceedingly great. Moreover, the children of Anak we saw there." In their exploration, the scouts observed the Anakim, a race of notable stature, in the territory they surveyed. Their observations are chronicled in the scriptural passage, Numbers 13:32-33, which goes as follows. "Thus they brought forth among the sons of Israel disparaging muttering about the land which they had explored, saying, 'The land through which we passed to explore it, it is a land that is devouring its dwellers. It and all the people whom we saw in its midst were men of great measure. There we saw the distinguished, the sons of Anak are part of the distinguished ones. And we became in our own eyes like grasshoppers, and so we became in their eyes.'" And who are the Anak? This term derives from the Akkadian Anunnaki, which in turn has its origin in the Sumerian Anunna. These are the same Elohim, the gods of our ancient past. Therefore, it is essential to observe the timeline of events in the Book of Enoch. Clearly, this historical time of events, and not necessarily the time when the text was written, was the time of the Anunnaki. In those days, the Anunnaki were on Earth. Before we analyze the content of each book inside of the Book of Enoch and its implications, it is necessary to answer a basic question. Who are the Watchers? The Watchers, also known as the Grigori, are derived from a Greek term signifying the vigilant and protective. In the scriptural context of Genesis 6:1-4, these celestial beings are referred to as Benai Elohim, or sons of Elohim. Tasked with overseeing humanity, these formidable angels, captivated by Earth's women, yearned for familial bonds. This longing, however, clashed with the divine laws set by the Elohim. Leading the celestial defiance, Samyaza, the leader of the Watchers, along with his followers, chose to abandon their heavenly abode for Earth. According to Zecharia Sitchin's interpretation, the Watchers or the Vigilantes mentioned in the Book of Enoch are the same as the Igigi from Sumerian and Akkadian mythology. They were the lesser gods in the hierarchy, the junior gods who worked hard. The Igigi were the same ones who organized a mutiny that resulted in the creation of humanity through genetic engineering. Accounts from the Atrahasis myth, Enuma Elish, Enki, and Ninmah, among others, confirm this story. According to Zecharia Sitchin's interpretation, the Watchers or the Igigi acted at the intermediary station on Lamu or Mars when they headed for Earth, landing on the platform near the cedar forests in ancient Lebanon on Mount Hermon. That was, in Sitchin's interpretation, the very same cedar forest related to in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Samyaza, the leader, claimed on behalf of the entire group the possibility of contact with earthly women. This right was claimed because one of the Great Ones, Marduk, one of the Anunnaki, was involved with a human. And in the same way, he did so because his father, Enki, the same one who warned Noah to save himself from the flood extermination, had also done this. Despite many people ridiculing many of Zecharia Sitchin's ideas, it is essential to perceive his ability to connect different knowledge and stories to present impressive data and provide us with a coherent narrative of past events. Now let's take a look at the story contained in the book known as 1 Enoch, or simply the Book of Enoch. For those who wish to learn more, there is a playlist with 5 complete videos featuring the dramatization in movie format of the 5 books. Access to this playlist will be available at the end of the video. Book 1: The Watchers. In the Book of Enoch, the story begins with a prophetic vision directed to the elect and righteous, warning of a future tribulation when the godless will be removed from the earth. Enoch, depicted as a divinely inspired figure, recounts a vision of the Holy One's descent from heaven, symbolizing a powerful divine intervention. This moment of awe is marked by natural upheavals such as mountains melting and the earth splitting apart, signifying a cosmic judgment. However, a promise of salvation is given to the righteous, who will be granted peace, protection, and divine light. They are assured of belonging to God and experiencing an era of tranquility. The narrative moves on to reflect on the order of creation. The heavens and earth, with their regular cycles and consistency, are portrayed as a testament to God's design. The natural world is contrasted with humanity's arrogance and disobedience. While celestial bodies and nature follow divine laws, humans stray from God's commandments, leading to suffering and curse for the impious. In contrast, the righteous are promised mercy, wisdom, and eternal life in a state of peace and joy. The emphasis is placed on the difference between the steadfastness of nature and the folly of human pride. The story then delves into a pivotal moment when angels, led by Samyaza, transgress their celestial duties by taking mortal women as wives. This act gives rise to the Nephilim, giants whose excessive appetites and strength bring violence and ruin to humanity. These fallen angels further corrupt humans by imparting forbidden knowledge of sorcery, warfare, and vanity, deepening the moral decay. The cries of the suffering humans rise to heaven, highlighting the profound impact of the angels' transgression. In response to this chaos, 4 archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel, observe the widespread bloodshed and lawlessness on earth. They appeal to God, who commands them to take decisive action. Azazel, a key figure in the corruption, is bound and cast into darkness, while the offspring of the fallen angels are destroyed. Samyaza and his associates face judgment and are confined until the day of final reckoning. This intervention sets the stage for a future era of righteousness and peace, where truth and justice prevail. Enoch then recounts his extraordinary visionary journey, which takes him to celestial realms filled with awe-inspiring sights like rivers of fire and cosmic treasuries. Guided by angels, he witnesses the foundational elements of creation and observes the places where errant stars and angels are imprisoned. These visions emphasize the intricate balance of the universe and the consequences of disobedience, even within the heavenly hierarchy. The narrative introduces the holy angels assigned specific duties, such as overseeing the spirits of men and guiding the luminaries of heaven. Enoch witnesses the imprisonment of celestial beings who have violated divine commandments and observes the places where the spirits of the dead reside until judgment. One powerful moment occurs when Enoch sees Abel's spirit seeking justice against Cain, underscoring the continuing influence of past events on the divine order. The Book of Enoch, particularly in its first part, The Watchers, presents a vivid account of divine judgment and cosmic order, reflecting ancient concerns about the boundaries between the divine and mortal realms. The story of the angels, led by Samyaza, who transgress their heavenly duties by taking mortal women as wives, is often interpreted as a symbolic representation of the dangers of crossing divine boundaries. These angels, known as the Watchers, not only defy divine law, but also impart forbidden knowledge to humanity, such as sorcery, warfare, and vanity. This act of rebellion leads to the birth of the Nephilim, giant offspring whose violent and destructive nature symbolizes the moral decay that follows from such divine disobedience. The Watcher's transgression represents a profound corruption, one that not only disrupts the natural order, but also deepens humanity's own descent into chaos and violence. Some scholars interpret this narrative as a reflection of early Jewish cosmology, where the celestial and earthly realms are deeply connected. When the divine order is broken, as in the case of the fallen angels, the effects are felt across all of creation. The natural upheavals described, such as mountains melting and the earth splitting apart, emphasize the cosmic consequences of this rebellion. Humanity, in contrast to the celestial bodies that follow divine laws, becomes a victim of its own hubris, leading to suffering and disorder. The Nephilim, with their insatiable appetites and overwhelming strength, serve as a symbol of this chaos, showing how the mixing of divine and mortal beings brings about catastrophic consequences. The divine response, where archangels like Michael and Gabriel intervene to restore order, underscores the inevitability of cosmic justice. The rebellious angels are bound and their offspring destroyed, marking the beginning of a future era where righteousness will prevail. The sin of the fallen angels can be closely connected to the original sin depicted in the Garden of Eden narrative. In the book of Genesis, the serpent tempts Adam and Eve with the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, promising that by eating it, they will become like one of us, suggesting that humans could attain knowledge reserved for divine beings. Similarly, in the Book of Enoch, the Watchers impart forbidden knowledge to humans, knowledge that was not intended for them. This act mirrors the temptation in Eden, where gaining such knowledge ultimately leads to a fall from grace. In both cases, The divine order is disrupted when knowledge meant to be inaccessible is granted to humanity, resulting in severe consequences. The Watcher's imparting of sorcery, warfare, and other skills to humanity can be seen as a direct parallel to the fruit of the tree of knowledge, which brings awareness of good and evil, and by extension, humanity's fall into moral ambiguity and sin. Moreover, the fallen angel's decision to take mortal women as wives echoes another aspect of the Garden of Eden story. After Adam and Eve consume the forbidden fruit, they become aware of their nakedness and feel shame for the first time. This newfound awareness of their bodies and their vulnerability is a key moment in the biblical narrative. In the Book of Enoch, the sons of Elohim, Benai Elohim, or sons of God, are drawn to the beauty of human women and decide to take them as wives. This can be seen as a parallel to Adam and Eve's realization of their nakedness, as both narratives involve an awakening to physicality and desire. The act of the fallen angels taking human women not only violates divine law, but also echoes the moral complexities introduced in Eden, where humans and divine beings cross boundaries, leading to corruption and disorder. This theme of rebellion and its consequences is not unique to the Book of Enoch. Ancient astronaut theorists draw parallels between the Watchers and the Anunnaki from Sumerian mythology. For those interpretations, the Anunnaki were extraterrestrial beings who descended to Earth and played a crucial role in human development, much like the Watchers in the Book of Enoch. It suggests that the Anunnaki, like the Watchers, imparted advanced knowledge to humanity, which in turn led to both the advancement and corruption of early civilizations. While the Watchers' imparting of forbidden knowledge leads to destruction, the Anunnaki are sometimes viewed as benevolent guides who shaped humanity's progress. Despite the differences in these narratives, the underlying theme remains consistent: the idea of divine beings influencing human destiny, for better or worse. Enoch's journey through the celestial realms further highlights the consequences of disobedience. His visions, filled with awe-inspiring sights like rivers of fire and imprisoned stars, reflect a complex cosmology where even the heavens are subject to divine law. The imprisoned angels and errant stars serve as a reminder that not even the most powerful beings are immune to the consequences of their actions. This idea reinforces the notion that the entire universe operates under a moral order, and any disruption to this order, whether by angels or humans, results in cosmic imbalance. Enoch's role as a witness to these events also places him in a unique position as a mediator between the divine and mortal realms, tasked with delivering warnings of judgment, but also promises of salvation for the righteous. The presence of Abel's spirit seeking justice against Cain highlights the ongoing influence of past events on the current divine order. This notion of unresolved justice lingering in the cosmic order is central to the Book of Enoch's narrative. It serves as a reminder that the consequences of sin and wrongdoing echo through time, requiring divine intervention to set things right. The imagery of the four archangels observing the chaos on earth and intervening to restore balance reflects a belief in the inevitability of divine retribution. The archangels' actions, particularly the binding of Azazel and the destruction of the Nephilim, mark the beginning of the restoration of order, but also a foreshadowing of the final judgment where all of creation will be held accountable. Book 2, The Parables. In the parables of the Book of Enoch, the first vision reveals a time when the righteous will be gathered and sinners judged and exiled. The righteous one will appear before the faithful, while sinners face their downfall. Kings and the mighty of the earth will lose their power, and holy beings will descend from heaven, mingling with humans. Enoch receives books filled with divine wrath and is shown the dwellings of the holy, where angels guard perpetual righteousness. In this realm, the righteous shine like fiery lights, praising the Lord of Spirits unceasingly. Enoch learns of the 4 archangels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Phanuel, who hold distinct roles in the divine order. He also witnesses the workings of natural phenomena, like the sun and moon, which follow divinely ordained paths. The vision underscores the stark division between the righteous and the sinners, with the former living in eternal peace and the latter facing exile and judgment. In the second parable, those who deny the sanctity of the Lord of Spirits will not return to heaven, their destiny tied to suffering. The elect one, a figure of immense authority, will sit on a throne of glory, judging the deeds of humanity. Heaven and earth will be transformed into blessings for the righteous, while sinners are cast out. Enoch seeks understanding of the Son of Man, a figure chosen by the Lord of Spirits to bring down the mighty and sinners. This parable highlights the downfall of the arrogant and the exaltation of the righteous, whose prayers rise to heaven, seeking justice. In a majestic scene, the head of days presides over the final judgment, and the Son of Man is honored as the support for the righteous. Apocalyptic visions depict the earth and Sheol releasing their dead, while the elect one selects the righteous for salvation. The rulers of the earth are judged and fall, while the earth rejoices, and the righteous inherit it. The third parable focuses on the blessed state of the righteous and the elect. They are portrayed as dwelling in eternal light, their days unending in the peace of the Lord of Spirits. This peace is everlasting, tied to their faith and righteousness. The righteous delve into the mysteries of faith and righteousness, deepening their connection with the divine. A world transformation is described, where darkness is replaced by unending light, symbolizing the triumph of righteousness. Enoch observes powerful natural elements, such as lightning and thunder, acting as instruments of divine will. In one vision, Enoch witnesses a great disturbance in heaven, presided over by the head of days. He is informed of the forthcoming judgment for those who oppose the righteous law. The narrative introduces 2 great monsters, Leviathan and Behemoth, representing chaotic forces. Enoch seeks understanding of these creatures, further exploring the mysteries of creation. The parable reiterates the role of the Son of Man in judgment, where he weighs the deeds of humanity, especially the kings and mighty of the earth. In a dramatic scene, the word of the Son of Man slays sinners, removing unrighteousness. The kings lament their fate, recognizing too late the supremacy of the Son of Man, as the parable concludes with the inevitable triumph of divine justice and righteousness. In the parables section of the Book of Enoch, we are presented with a powerful apocalyptic narrative that lays out the ultimate fate of humanity and the cosmic transformation that accompanies divine judgment. These visions are rich in symbolic imagery, with figures like the elect one, the Son of Man, and the head of days playing central roles. Scholars have long debated the significance of these figures and their roles within the larger apocalyptic framework of the text, offering multiple layers of interpretation regarding their meaning and importance. The elect one, for instance, is a figure of immense authority, chosen by the Lord of Spirits to sit on a throne of glory and execute judgment over humanity. The elect one can be seen as a messianic figure, representing the divine intermediary who brings about the final reckoning of both the righteous and the sinful. In the context of early Jewish apocalyptic literature, the elect one is often viewed as a savior-like figure, tasked with delivering justice and guiding the faithful toward salvation. Some scholars interpret the elect one as a precursor to the concept of the Messiah, later developed more fully in Christian theology. This figure stands in direct opposition to the earthly rulers and kings who, in their arrogance, have strayed from divine law and are ultimately judged and cast down. The Son of Man, who appears prominently in the second parable, is another enigmatic figure often associated with the elect one. The term Son of Man appears throughout apocalyptic texts, and in the Book of Enoch, this figure is closely tied to divine authority, acting as the ultimate judge of humanity. The title Son of Man is not unique to Enoch's vision. It appears in the Hebrew Bible and later in Christian texts, particularly the New Testament, where Jesus is frequently referred to as the Son of Man. In the Book of Enoch, this figure plays a critical role in the final judgment, where the deeds of humanity are weighed and the unrighteous are cast into exile or destruction. Some scholars believe the Son of Man represents a divine agent who embodies both judgment and salvation, acting as a bridge between the human and divine realms. In this role, the Son of Man executes justice, ensuring that the righteous are rewarded and the sinful are punished. The head of days, who presides over the final judgment, is often understood as an image of God, particularly in his aspect as the eternal and ancient one. The name Head of Days emphasizes the timeless nature of this divine figure, suggesting a being who transcends time and space and who oversees the entire cosmic order. Some interpretations suggest that the Head of Days is a title for God the Father in later Christian theology, representing the ultimate authority from which all other figures derive their power. In Enoch's visions, the Head of Days presides over a cosmic courtroom where the final reckoning takes place, and the Son of Man is honored as the champion of righteousness. Together, the Head of Days and the Son of Man embody the divine judgment that brings about the transformation of the world, leading to a new era where the righteous dwell in eternal peace and the sinful are cast out. The mention of Sheol in these parables refers to the ancient Jewish concept of the underworld, a place where the dead reside until the time of judgment. Sheol is often depicted as a shadowy, neutral place of waiting, distinct from later ideas of heaven and hell. In the Book of Enoch, Sheol is where the dead remain until the final judgment, when the righteous are separated from the wicked. During the apocalypse, Sheol releases the dead, both righteous and unrighteous, to face their fate. This vision of Sheol releasing the dead reinforces the idea that divine judgment will be universal, applying to both the living and the dead alike, ensuring that no one escapes accountability for their actions. In this narrative, Sheol acts as a temporary holding place, emphasizing the impermanence of death in the face of the ultimate divine reckoning. The final vision of the third parable focuses on the blessed state of the righteous after the final judgment, where they dwell in eternal light, their connection with the divine made perfect. The symbolic imagery of light and darkness is a recurring theme in apocalyptic literature, with light representing the divine presence, truth, and righteousness, while darkness symbolizes chaos, sin, and separation from God. In Enoch's vision, the world is transformed into a place of unending light, symbolizing the triumph of divine order over the forces of chaos. This transformation reflects the deepening relationship between the righteous and the divine, as they come to understand the mysteries of creation and God's ultimate plan. The peace and joy that the righteous experience are tied directly to their faith and loyalty to the Lord of Spirits, reinforcing the idea that righteousness is rewarded not only with eternal life, but with a profound spiritual connection to the divine. An interesting aspect of this parable is the introduction of two chaotic forces, Leviathan and Behemoth, which are described as great monsters that represent primordial chaos. These creatures, borrowed from ancient Near Eastern mythology, particularly from Mesopotamian and Canaanite traditions, serve as symbols of the chaos that once threatened the divine order. In the Book of Enoch, their presence points to the ongoing struggle between order and chaos, with Leviathan dwelling in the depths of the sea and behemoth on the land. Some scholars interpret these creatures as allegorical representations of untamed, destructive forces that will ultimately be defeated when divine order is fully restored. The vision of these creatures emphasizes the vastness of the cosmic struggle at play, but also the certainty of their defeat in the face of divine justice. Book 3, Book of Noah. In the Book of Noah, inside the Book of Enoch, the narrative opens with the birth of Noah, a child of extraordinary and divine characteristics, described as having a body white as snow, red as a blooming rose, and hair as white as wool. From birth, Noah demonstrates a celestial nature, even speaking to the Lord of Righteousness as an infant, causing awe and fear in his father, Lamech. Fearing his son might be of angelic origin, Lamech seeks guidance from his father Methuselah, who then consults Enoch. Enoch confirms Noah's parentage and reveals that Noah will play a crucial role in surviving the forthcoming destruction intended to cleanse the earth of the giants and their corruption, the result of angelic transgressions. Enoch explains that Noah's birth signals hope and renewal for the earth, which is destined to be purified through a great deluge. Methuselah reassures Lamech that Noah is indeed his son, and that his name signifies comfort, as he will be instrumental in preserving life during this time of great upheaval. In the following chapter, Noah, witnessing the deteriorating state of the earth, seeks his grandfather Enoch's counsel. Deeply concerned about the impending destruction, Noah cries out to Enoch for guidance. Enoch, standing as a mediator, listens to Noah's plea and explains that humanity's corruption, due to forbidden knowledge such as sorcery and weaponry, has led to an irreversible divine judgment. However, Noah is absolved of guilt and assured of his purity. He is promised protection by the Lord of Spirits, and his descendants are destined to be kings, bringing righteousness to the earth. The angels of punishment, tasked with releasing destructive waters, are held back for the time being, as divine mercy temporarily stays the judgment. In the next chapter, Noah is recognized by God for his righteousness and uprightness. God assures Noah that after the angels complete their work, he will intervene to preserve life on earth. Noah is promised a fruitful lineage that will flourish under divine blessing. The narrative then shifts to the punishment of the fallen angels, who are imprisoned in a burning valley beneath the earth. Streams of fire flow through the valley, representing their eternal torment. The waters, paradoxically, serve as a healing agent for earthly rulers while punishing lustful spirits, highlighting the dual nature of divine justice. The fluctuating temperature of these waters is a reflection of the angels' changing states, signifying their ongoing torment. Michael, the archangel, interprets this judgment as a sign for earthly rulers, noting that while they may benefit physically from the waters, they remain blind to the spiritual consequences, symbolizing their disbelief in divine justice. The final chapter of the Book of Noah unfolds, with Enoch revealing esoteric knowledge to Noah, passing down the mysteries contained in the parables. The text then focuses on the archangels Michael and Raphael, who discuss the severity of the angels' punishment. Michael, standing before the Lord of Spirits, refuses to intercede for the fallen angels, condemning their arrogance and rebellion. The names of key fallen angels are listed, such as Samyaza, Azazel, and others, each responsible for corrupting humanity through forbidden knowledge. The text emphasizes the importance of an oath given to Michael, which governs the heavens, earth, and celestial bodies, ensuring cosmic order. The book concludes with a celebration of the Son of Man, who will judge and remove sinners from the earth, ushering in an era of divine justice and purity. This final vision of the Son of Man symbolizes the triumph of righteousness and the restoration of divine order, as evil is eradicated and the world is renewed under his rule. In the Book of Noah, which is the third part of the Book of Enoch, we witness a continuation of the story of the fallen angels and their lingering influence on the world. Their transgressions, taking human wives and imparting forbidden knowledge, have corrupted the earth, leading to the creation of the Nephilim and widespread moral decay. As a result, the earth is now destined to be cleansed through the Great Flood, which serves as divine retribution for the sins of both the fallen angels and the corrupted humanity. However, amidst this impending destruction, a child is born. Noah, a figure whose birth signifies hope and renewal. Noah's divine appearance, described in the text as having a body white as snow, red as a blooming rose, and hair as white as wool, sets him apart as someone with a celestial nature. This has led some interpreters to suggest that Noah may be more than a regular human, perhaps a direct descendant of the Elohim, or the gods themselves, rather than merely one of the Benai Elohim, or the sons of the gods, or the angels. This distinction implies that Noah may have a more pure or noble lineage, possibly carrying royal blood. The text seems to imply that Noah's bloodline is divinely chosen to preserve life during the flood, as he is untouched by the corruption that has spread throughout the rest of humanity. However, it is important to address the description of Noah's appearance carefully. The imagery of Noah as a white child has sometimes been misinterpreted or misused to justify racial superiority or racist ideologies, but this reading misses the broader message of the Book of Enoch. The text is not focused on phenotypical aspects, such as skin color, but rather on blood lineage, the purity of Noah's line in contrast to the corrupted bloodlines that have been tainted by the fallen angels. The idea of whiteness in this context refers to spiritual purity and divine favor, not to any racial or ethnic superiority. Historically, people in the Middle East and Africa, where these ancient stories are rooted, have a wide range of skin tones. It is much more likely that the historical figures like Enoch, Noah, and the prophets of the Hebrew Bible had darker skin tones typical of the peoples from these regions. Therefore, the suggestion that Noah or any other figure described in these ancient texts had white skin as we might understand it today is not based on historical fact, but rather on symbolic or spiritual imagery within the text. Moreover, the color of the gods, whether described in this or other ancient texts, remains a mystery. We cannot know for certain what the Elohim or other divine beings might have looked like, and more importantly, their physical appearance is irrelevant to their role in the narrative. The Book of Enoch and similar ancient texts focus on spiritual qualities, purity, righteousness, and the divine connection, rather than on physical traits like skin color. In my view, it is crucial that we avoid using these ancient texts to support divisive or harmful ideologies. Skin color should not be a marker of superiority or inferiority, nor should it be used as a tool for segregation or discrimination. As we study the ancient stories of the Anunnaki, the Elohim, and the fallen angels, the most important lesson we can learn is that we are all part of a shared human history with common ancestors and common origins. Regardless of skin color, ethnicity, or background, we all come from the same place. Our shared humanity is what matters most, and it is this fundamental truth that should guide us toward mutual respect, understanding, and the creation of a free society where everyone is valued equally. In studying the Anunnaki and these ancient myths, the most profound takeaway is the interconnectedness of all human beings. Whether the gods were depicted as having certain physical characteristics, or whether certain figures were described with symbolic imagery, these narratives emphasize the unity of all life under divine creation. In the end, we are all part of the same story, and that is the lesson we should carry forward. That we share the same forefathers and foremothers, and that the real focus should be on building a world where we respect and uplift one another, regardless of the differences we see on the surface. Book 4, The Kingdom of Heaven. In the Kingdom of Heaven, the narrative begins with Enoch's ascension, a transformative event marking his transition from mortal to divine realms. Enoch is honored and exalted by the Lord of Spirits, signifying his elevated status. He is physically transported on chariots of the Spirit to a place beyond the earthly realm, where he encounters the elect and righteous who have dwelled in a sacred space since the beginning. Enoch witnesses the holy sons of God, clothed in white and shining with divine light, further underscoring his passage into a celestial domain. Guided by the angel Michael, Enoch explores the mysteries of righteousness and the celestial order, gaining insight into the workings of the universe. His journey into the celestial realms represents humanity's potential to access divine knowledge. Enoch's encounter with the elect and righteous, beings clothed in white and shining with divine light, symbolizes the purity and spiritual elevation of those who dwell in divine favor, contrasting with the sinful beings left behind on earth. In a magnificent vision, Enoch is taken to the heaven of heavens, where he sees a structure of living fire and crystals, guarded by celestial beings like Seraphim, Cherubic, and Ophanim. Enoch undergoes a complete spiritual transformation and has a profound encounter with the Head of Days, who affirms Enoch's role as the Son of Man and promises eternal peace to those who follow the path of righteousness. This celestial journey highlights the grandeur of the divine realm and Enoch's pivotal role in the cosmic order. Enoch's encounter with the Head of Days, a symbol of the eternal nature of God, affirms Enoch's role as the Son of Man, an exalted figure in the cosmic hierarchy tasked with enacting divine justice. The Son of Man represents a messianic figure, often depicted in apocalyptic literature, as the one who will preside over the final judgment and restore cosmic balance. The next chapter, The Luminaries, focuses on the celestial bodies, particularly the sun and moon, and their roles in the universe. The angel Uriel guides Enoch through the precise laws governing these luminaries, explaining their movements, seasons, and influence on the earth. The sun, described as a great luminary, rises and sets through 6 portals, determining the length of days, nights, and seasons. The moon's phases and synchronization with the sun are also detailed, emphasizing the intricate and orderly nature of the celestial realm. Enoch learns how the sun and moon, along with other luminaries, maintain cosmic balance and influence the Earth's climate and seasons, showcasing the interconnectedness of the celestial and earthly realms. These luminaries symbolize the order of the universe, governed by divine wisdom, reflecting the interconnectedness of the heavens and the earth. The precise laws governing the celestial bodies contrast with human disobedience, showing that while the universe follows divine order, humanity often strays from it, leading to cosmic imbalance. In heavenly tablets, Uriel reveals cosmic phenomena and prophetic visions to Enoch, including a foreboding prophecy about the times of sinners. In these times, natural growth will be hindered, and celestial anomalies will disturb the earth, leading to confusion and increased evil. Enoch is shown heavenly tablets that record the deeds of mankind and the destiny of all flesh. This chapter highlights the contrast between the righteous and the sinners, with the former rejoicing in divine wisdom, while the latter face dire consequences for their actions. Enoch is instructed to share his knowledge with his descendants, emphasizing the importance of righteousness and the need to preserve divine wisdom for future generations. These records emphasize that every action is accounted for, reinforcing the inevitability of divine justice. The vision of the times of sinners, marked by celestial anomalies and natural disasters, shows that human corruption disturbs the cosmic order. This cosmic disruption highlights the belief that human actions have consequences not only on earth, but also in the heavens. In 1 Year to Record, Enoch conveys his teachings to his son Methuselah, urging him to safeguard the books he has written. These texts contain revelations about the celestial order and the movement of the sun, moon, and stars. Enoch describes the solar calendar of 364 days, divided into 4 quarters, and explains how the luminaries govern the seasons and natural cycles on Earth. This chapter emphasizes the complexity and order of the universe, with Enoch serving as a bridge between the divine and humanity, tasked with preserving celestial knowledge for posterity. The final chapter, Visions, recounts Enoch's experiences of 2 profound visions. The first vision shows the collapse of heaven and earth, with mountains and trees consumed by a great abyss. This vision is interpreted as a prophecy of destruction due to the sins of the earth. Enoch prays for mercy, writing down his prayers for future generations. The second vision involves symbolic representations of animals, particularly bulls, cows, and sheep, depicting conflicts and transformations that symbolize judgment, salvation, and renewal. The vision suggests themes of leadership, divine intervention, and the cyclical nature of destruction and rebirth. Enoch awakens deeply troubled by the weight of these revelations, reflecting on their implications for the future and the fulfillment of divine prophecies. This final section, often referred to as the animal apocalypse, presents a symbolic vision of history through the imagery of animals. The narrative begins with the creation of Adam and Eve and follows the progression of biblical history, represented through animals like bulls, sheep, and rams. The sheep surrounded by wolves and led by the Lord of the sheep is an allegory for Israel's oppression in Egypt and the subsequent Exodus. The crossing of the stream represents Israel's entry into the Promised Land, and the blind sheep symbolize the spiritual struggles of the post-exilic Jewish community. The animal apocalypse is widely interpreted as a retelling of Israel's history. The imagery of the sheep being led by the Lord reflects the nation's dependence on divine guidance, while the 70 shepherds, who fail to properly manage the sheep, represent corrupt leaders or possibly angelic figures responsible for the nation's spiritual welfare. Their failure leads to Israel's exile and eventual return, yet the sheep remain weak and spiritually blind, symbolizing the incomplete restoration of Israel after the exile. This vision is often seen as a theological interpretation of human history, particularly relevant to the Maccabean period, when the Jewish people sought divine intervention to restore their nation's sovereignty. The allegory suggests that while past leaders like Moses and Joshua led the people to glory, the full restoration of Israel still awaited divine intervention, pointing to a future where God would intervene once more to judge the sinful and elevate the righteous. Book 5, the Epistle of Enoch. In the Epistle of Enoch, Enoch imparts his final wisdom and prophetic revelations to his son Methuselah and his descendants. He begins by calling for righteousness, urging the assembly to reject duplicity and deceit. Enoch predicts an increase in violence and unrighteousness on earth, followed by divine retribution, where the Holy Lord will execute judgment, eradicating unrighteousness, deceit, and the roots of violence. However, hope is offered to the righteous, who will awaken and receive wisdom as sinners are destroyed. Enoch warns that those who choose the path of unrighteousness will perish forever. In the next chapter, Enoch emphasizes the importance of wisdom and reminds his audience that the timing of all events is ordained by the Holy One. he speaks of a righteous figure who will embody eternal light and uprightness, contrasting with the inevitable demise of sin. Enoch describes the cycles of human history, each marked by righteousness or wickedness, and foretells a future of apostasy where people will forsake wisdom. He admonishes sinners, particularly the rich who oppress and deceive, and assures the righteous that they will eventually see the triumph of divine justice. Enoch continues in the 3rd chapter with severe admonitions for sinners, warning them of their inevitable downfall and the inescapable divine judgment. He pronounces a series of woes against sinners for their greed, deceit, and oppression, and predicts their ultimate destruction. The text highlights the folly of idolatry and false worship, emphasizing that sinners are blinded and destined to perish. In contrast, the righteous are promised salvation and blessing if they remain steadfast in their pursuit of wisdom and righteousness. The 4th chapter shifts to a reflection on the power of the Most High and the consequences of sin. Enoch warns the children of heaven to fear and respect the divine, as their actions will lead to natural consequences, such as drought and turmoil. He compares the fear of sailors in turbulent seas to the lack of fear among sinners who fail to recognize the power of the Most High. The chapter concludes with a forewarning of divine retribution, symbolized by fire, while offering consolation to the righteous, urging them to endure and wait for their ultimate vindication. In the 5th chapter, Enoch writes another message for his son Methuselah, encouraging the righteous to endure and wait for the end of evil and the cessation of the transgressor's power. Sinners will face erasure from the book of life and eternal torment, while the righteous will be transformed and brought forth in shining light, honored for their steadfastness. Enoch witnesses a vision of fiery mountains and inquires about this terrifying realm, learning that it is where the spirits of sinners and blasphemers are cast for opposing the divine will. The righteous, in contrast, will shine eternally, seated on thrones and exalted in the afterlife. In the final chapter, Revelation of Enoch, the tone shifts to hope and redemption. Enoch assures the righteous that they are remembered favorably in heaven, and their names are inscribed before the Great One. He encourages them to remain hopeful, promising that they will shine like the lights of heaven and gain access to celestial realms. Enoch calls for justice, assuring the righteous that their tribulations will be repaid, and the rulers who oppressed them will face retribution. The righteous are urged to remain separate from sinners and to walk in the paths of wisdom and uprightness. The chapter emphasizes that every sin is recorded, and no one can escape divine judgment. Enoch reveals that truthful books will be given to the righteous, bringing them wisdom and joy, while the deceitful will face severe consequences. The Epistle of Enoch serves as a final prophetic message from Enoch, focusing on divine justice, the fate of the righteous, and the destruction awaiting sinners. The epistle emphasizes the need for righteousness and wisdom in a world increasingly marked by corruption, violence, and deceit. Enoch foresees a time of divine retribution, where God will eradicate evil and restore balance to the cosmos. This vision of judgment is deeply connected to apocalyptic traditions found later in texts like the Book of Revelation, where a final reckoning cleanses the world of sin and establishes eternal peace for the faithful. One of the key elements in the Epistle of Enoch is the figure of the Son of Man, a messianic figure who will lead the final judgment. Many early Christians later identified this figure with Jesus Christ, who is seen as the divine judge in the Book of Revelation. The Son of Man, in both Enoch and Christian apocalyptic thought, represents the embodiment of righteousness and the one who will bring divine justice to earth. This connection between the Son of Man in Enoch and Jesus highlights the continuity between Jewish apocalyptic visions and Christian eschatology. The imagery of fiery mountains where sinners are cast as part of their eternal punishment aligns with the lake of fire in the Book of Revelation, symbolizing divine wrath and the final judgment of the wicked. Fire is used in both texts as a representation of God's purifying and destructive power, separating the righteous from the sinful. The heavenly books mentioned in Enoch, which record every deed, also parallel the Book of Life in the Book of Revelation. Both serve as symbols of divine omniscience and judgment, where every action is accounted for, and no one can escape the consequences of their deeds. The righteous are assured that their names are written in these books, guaranteeing their salvation and eternal reward. Enoch's message throughout the epistle is clear. The righteous must endure the trials of a corrupt world and remain separate from sinners. The promise of a messianic figure who will restore divine order and the use of apocalyptic imagery link this text to broader eschatological traditions. The epistle offers hope and assurance that, despite the present state of wickedness, divine justice will prevail, and the faithful will shine in glory, much like the visions found in the Book of Revelation. Enoch concludes with a divine summons, calling the righteous to be guides and teachers of wisdom on earth, promising peace and joy in their union with the divine. The book ends with a message of hope, reward, and eternal peace, concluding with Amen. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends and family who might be interested in the topic. Consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss our upcoming videos. See you in the next video.